about the show. For the next 30 days, everyone in the country is trying to murder me.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 sci-fi action film The Running Man. The film is directed by Edgar Wright, based on the novel by Stephen King, and it stars Glenn Powell, Josh Brolin and Lee Pace. Right, okay, most of you will probably know the story, but if you don't, it's set in a dystopian future where there's two strokes of society, if you like. You've got the ultra poor, and you've got really those that are in society who've got high-powered jobs and they have access to everything that they need. And they kind of tend to work for the network. And the network runs a series of game shows, increasingly dangerous game shows. Glenn Powell plays Ben Richards, an ordinary man who can't get a break. He's looking for a job, and his daughter, who's 2 years old, is very, very ill. He needs money, and he needs money now, so he heads to the network to audition for one of these game shows. After a series of tests, they determine that he is a perfect contestant for The Running Man, the most dangerous show of them all, where you have to survive 30 days, and you are hunted by a series of skilled killers. If you survive the 30 days, you get $1 billion. Right, what are my thoughts on The Running Man? Well, I'm sure most of you, in fact, pretty much all of you will know, this is a remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger classic from the 80s. A personal favourite of mine of Arnie's. I went to the cinema to see it. I absolutely love The Running Man. I'm aware it's cheesy as hell. I'm aware it's like a big screen B-movie sort of thing. And it is janky as hell at times, but I love the concept, you know what I mean? And it's got some kind of cutting social commentary going with it. And, you know, many years later, they've decided to remake it. And Schwarzenegger's said numerous times, the most recently I saw him meeting Glenn Powell and Edgar Wright after he'd seen a screening of the film, telling them he loved it, and basically saying to them, this was one of my movies I absolutely wanted remaking because I knew it could be better. And this version is closer to the Stephen King novel. Now, I remember years ago, what I used to do back in the day is I'd watch a film when I was younger, and then I'd read the novel. I did it with Predator. I did it with a lot of them. Now, quite a lot of books were kind of based off screenplays in them days of films, and the author kind of turned it into a novel. Whereas The Running Man was obviously by Stephen King, or as he was known, Richard Bachman, when he wrote this. So I remember watching the film, loving it, and I'm like, right, I'm going to read the novel. And I read the novel, and it was not really like the film at all. And I was like, and I blamed the novel. I thought, well, the novel's not very good. It's not like the film. No, it was the other way around. The film couldn't copy the novel because of constraints at the time, if you like. They turned it into a different kind of movie. Whereas this can have it closer to the novel, if you like, and that's kind of what they've gone for, which is why you've got the nationwide running, so he can kind of run anywhere he wants, Ben Richards. He's just got to kind of stay under the radar, stay out of the way of the hunters, and once a day he's got to post a 10-minute video recording of himself. So he's got to survive for 30 days in order to win the thing. But obviously, the stacks, the deck is stacked against him. You know, the network are never going to allow him to win unless he kind of breaks the rules and kind of, really does things his way. Now, I have to tell you guys, I loved this. I thought I think this is the best action film of the year so far for me. I thought it was massively entertaining. I think Glenn Powell is a megastar on the rise, I think. He is definitely a leading man. He carries this film brilliantly. He's got this masculinity about him, but also a vulnerability and also a layer of comedy that goes through him. So he's got great timing, comedy timing, but he's also got the chops to be an action star. I think the guy's brilliant. I really do. And I think he, when you're recasting a role like this, you have to kind of consider a lot of things. Like when they cast Total Recall, for example, the remake with Colin Farrell, immediately you're just thinking, that's not going to work. You don't even have to see the film, and it didn't work. Glenn Powell can pull off the masculinity, can pull off the believability factor of being like this, guy that can kick ass if he needs to, but also have a real vulnerability about him. And I thought he was excellent in this. I really, really do. And, apparently he got a few tips from Tom Cruise, who's one of his buddies, while, preparing for this. Taught him how to run, apparently. So I thought he was great. I thought Josh Brolin was great as Killian. Now, in the original, Killian was the host of the TV show and the producer. But in this, closer to the book, the host of the show and the producer are two different people. And Killian is the producer. He's behind the scenes. It's Josh Brolin. He is suitably sleazy. And he does a great job as being the villain. In regards to criticisms, now you're probably going to watch quite a few reviews of this saying, "Oh, it's dumb, it's stupid." Okay, well, watch the original and tell me how intelligent that film is. People just don't know how to enjoy themselves these days. It's an action film. Turn your brain off, have fun, smile, and leave the cinema. Stop complaining about things that don't really matter that much. Is there dumb stuff in this film? Absolutely. There are stuff in this film and you're kind of thinking, why would they do that? The whole idea of, for example, the whole idea of posting your tape once a day to send to the network. You post it through this thing and then it zooms off like on a drone to the studio. Number one, it wouldn't shoot off on a drone. You just put it in and then it'd just upload to the network. And number two, surely an intelligent person would be able to realise that as soon as you post that, it's going to give them a starting point to track you. But it's things like that that are dumb in the film. That if you think about things like that too much, you're kind of like, that don't make sense. But it's an action film. Don't think about it. But for me, like I said, there's probably going to be a lot of people, trying to put this film down by saying those sort of things. And I suspect and I haven't looked, I suspect if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes bollocks that a lot of people judge films on, it'll have a low critic review but a high audience review. I always go for the audience reviews, the audience feedback, because we are the ones that pay our money and go and watch these films. Critics, like the Mark Commodes of the world, that will look down the nose at a film like this, I'm not interested in their opinion. This, for me, is a wildly entertaining film with brilliant action, some social commentary that isn't shoved down your throat, no woke nonsense that's, some people like to point the fingers at these days. It's just a good time, a fun time, an entertaining film. And for me, I loved it. I think it's a really brilliant remake of a film that I already enjoyed. And it's not often you can say that a remake does justice on the original and arguably surpasses it in a lot of ways. If it's got Arnie's stamp of approval, there's no arguing. If it's got Tom Cruise's stamp of approval, there's no arguing. So therefore, I'm giving it my stamp of approval. So you certainly don't need any more convincing, do you? Arnie, Tom Cruise and me, go and see this film. It's a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. Thanks for watching, everybody.